West, and yeah, they're gonna be heading out to Vancouver and back. All right, give it up for Austin.
Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Under the light.
More than enough just the way you are.
So prepare yourself for an hour of laughter, inspiration, and music that'll rock your face off.
Let's not delay this any longer.
Please give it up for Sevenless!
Time flies, there's just so much you can do. Go on, don't wait till you have a clue. Start now, the best time to go is when you're scared. Too late is but a statement I'll live. 'Cause you could breathe but still not live. Far away, heart on 9. It takes so much out of your mind. Fly blind, once in time. Daunting, but you will be fine. Grow old, the younger we stay. Case to the point, we've known that we don't know so much. Far away, heart on 9. Everyone, how you feeling? Eyes on details surround you and view. Don't stay, walk off the earth and you fly. Last flight, it takes you one farther than fear. Too late is but a statement I'll live. 'Cause you could breathe but still not live. Far away, heart on 9. Takes so much out of your mind. I fly blind, once in time. Daunting, but you will be fine. Grow old, the younger we stay. Case to the point, we've known that we don't know so much. Far away, heart on 9. Under these lines, it makes no sense. Lose your grip some more than you love to fall. Under these lines, it makes no sense. Lose your grip some more than you love to fall. Under these lines, it makes no sense. Lose your grip some more than you love to fall. Far away, heart on 9. It takes so much out of your mind. Fly blind, once in time. Daunting, but you will be fine. Grow old, the younger we stay. Case to the point, we've
Have you ever wondered, why are we the most stressed out and anxious generation? Maybe it's because our entire foundation is wrong. Like a rocket launching off a crooked launching pad, maybe we're launching ourselves into a life that's missing what's really important. Since you were a child, people have been asking you, what do you want to do when you grow up? But no one ever asks, who do you want to become? We are more concerned with the job we'll have and the money we'll make than the love that we'll share with the people around us. When you think about the word success, what does it mean? If you were to go online and look up synonyms for the word success, you'd find words like fame, profit, prosperity, wealth. We spend so much time trying to achieve these goals. Being cool, being popular, having the right things, trying to prove our worth to the people around us. But research has shown that these things do not make us happy. And we are stressed out under the pressure of trying to achieve things that don't actually help us. $220 billion are spent on advertising in North America every year, trying to convince you that the good life can be found through the goods life, that in order to be, you must buy. The famous actor and comedian Jim Carrey once said, "I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so that they can see it's not the answer." So is there a better way?
Hey everyone, so my name's Austin, and I'm just gonna take a few minutes right now and share a little bit about my life with you guys. So I wanted to go back to when I was younger though. Guys, I would say my comfort zone, it was my only zone. You know, I was shy and I was introverted and I preferred to eat my Dunkaroos alone in kindergarten. But even as I got older though, I never wanted to do any kind of public speaking thing or class presentation. I actually remember though in elementary school, every year we had to write these speeches and they had to be performed in front of the entire class. This was like one of the worst things ever for me, by the way. I'm sure some of you can relate with me on that one. Anyways, I remember this time specifically in grade 6 when it came time to share our speeches in front of everyone. I was actually just so afraid to talk in front of other people that my teacher, she presented my speech for me. So needless to say, if my 11-year-old self saw me standing up here talking in front of you right now, he'd probably have a meltdown, right? You know, I was just so shy and I was so reserved, you know, and I feared the world around me. I didn't feel like I could step out and be myself, and I think that this was because I just never really felt like I actually fit in. You see, guys, I'm from a small town, and in my town, your value, it was based on things like how good you were at hunting or your athletic ability, and I wasn't good at those things. I had no skills in those areas. And there's actually this one time in grade 8 gym class, we had to do like one of those circus challenges, you know, where you go around the gym and you have like a minute to complete each exercise that was posted on the wall. And then after that, I was actually so embarrassed because we had to share out loud how many of each exercise we managed to do. And guys, there were people in my class calling out their numbers for like push-ups. And I was hearing like 42 and like 63. And then there's this guy with like 100. And then there was me, Austin, 10. Yeah. And yeah, the hunting thing, it was no better either. I wasn't a huge fan of hunting, but in my town, your popularity, it was heavily determined on how many birds that you shot on the weekend. It was actually so popular, though, that during the prime hunting season, like a quarter of the entire school, they just wouldn't show up because they were hunting. And that was even teachers included. So, you know, the only thing that I could do to fit in was pretend, right? And I even, and then, so, you know, it was obvious that I wasn't like everyone else, right? But I didn't like what everyone else liked, and I didn't want to do what everyone else was doing. And because of that, it made me to be one of the favorite targets at school, right? And I remember the torment from the kids at school. It actually got so bad at one point that the simple things in life, like getting out of bed in the morning, they just became this huge struggle because at that point in my life, I was just so exhausted of trying to avoid these kids who made me feel worthless that moving forward became difficult, right? And I remember when I got to high school, I tried as hard as I could to just fly under the radar, but there was actually this one teacher, and she refused to let me fade into the background. So I was leaving class one day. It was grade 10 careers, and Miss DF, she pulled me aside, and she asked me to go see her at the end of the day. So during my next class, I felt like super anxious every time I thought about it because I had no idea if it was going to be good or bad, but the bell finally rang, and then I made my way to her class. And I remember when I walked in, she was sitting at her desk, but then she stood up, and she had a smile on her face, and then she grabbed this letter. And after that, she started to explain to me how there was a club in my town, and it was filled with passionate people who wanted to make a difference in the world. And after that, she told me that she saw potential in me. And honestly, that was like the first time I had ever heard something like that. And after that, she actually handed me that letter, and it was nominating me to be a part of that club. Now, I know to some of you, it might not seem like this big deal, but to me, that was like getting on that sports team that you always wanted to be on. And after that, so many things started to change for me in my life. You know, I started to get involved in my school and my community, and instead of wasting my time, I started to spend my spare time doing things like handing out meals to the elderly, or I was doing these walks to raise money for water projects, and I was becoming a part of initiatives that were actually making a difference. And it even led me to volunteering internationally, and I started traveling to places like the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Haiti, and Thailand. And, you know, by getting involved in my school, in my community, I felt connected to a purpose for the very first time in my life. You know, I realized just how capable and confident that I could really be when I was doing something that I cared about. You know, guys, I went from being like that shy little boy who just like was so lost, right, to this person who now has his own sense of purpose and belonging. And I now know that the idea of fitting into what's trendy or popular, it's just overrated, guys. And what really matters to me is just stepping outside of my comfort zone and showing the world different ways that I care. Thank you all so much for listening.
Yo, my name's Greg, and I am stupid rich. Yeah, I guess when I was born, I was a baby, and my parents were rich. Yo, doubling up with the two microwaves, preheat up here, cook it down here. You know, the world's not meant to be equal. Some people are lions, like moi, raw, right? And some people are just toads, sitting in the swamp. The lion's gonna eat that toad. I bought little Pooks off an emperor. Hey Pooks, you wanna do a Dukes in your litter box? When you can literally make everyone feel awful because they don't have what you have, that's when you know you've arrived. Yo, so when I duke a deuce, I do it on sparkling water, cause that way it's super fresh. Yo, check out the fizz. So this is my boy Randall. He does whatever I tell him to do, cause he's my bro. Pay him big bucks, he's also my only friend. So. You can never have too much of what you want, because what you want is what you need. Yo, 5 G's for this face lotion, brah. It's made from the tears of baby bald eagles. It's kind of stinging my eyes a bit. At the end of your life, you're gonna lay in the hospital bed, you're thinking, how much dope stuff did I collect, right? That's what's gonna matter.
All right. Okay, you guys look like a great audience to help me out with a little experiment that I've been meaning to do. But first, I'm going to need some help up here on stage. So, is there a Miss Dijon Domenico out there somewhere in the crowd? Yeah? All right, well, make your way up. Come on up. Let's be fast now. Where are you at? All right, come on up. Oh, perfect. Welcome. Watch the step. Great. We're not going to say Dijon Domenico because we don't got time for that. We're going to say Miss D, all right? Okay, how you doing today, Miss D?
Pretty good, yeah.
Great. You seem great. Okay, so just so you know, being up here helping me out, it's going to be relatively simple. I'm just going to present you with 3 scenarios, and all you got to do is get the answers to my questions correct. Sound good?
Okay.
Yeah, you seem a little confused. It's okay. All right, so check it out right here. I got a brand new, crisp, shiny $100 bill. Still smells like maple syrup, yep. Okay, now how much is this piece of plastic worth?
$100.
Right, great. You're good. $100. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's get started then, okay? I'm going to need your eyes out there. I'm going to need your eyes. Okay, just focus on the bill, okay? Ready? Hey, $100 bill. I don't think you're all that great, actually. I wouldn't even trade 520s for you. You're worthless. Nobody likes you, and there's not even space for you in my wallet. Yeah. You got anything to say to it, Misty?
You're a piece of paper?
Plastic, but yes. Okay, after those crazy words, Misty, what is it worth now?
$100.
$100! That's right, you just earned yourself a candy. Yeah, give it up for Misty, guys. Good job. Okay, that one was really easy though. Okay, we're gonna make them a little more tough. Okay, guys, check it out. Check out my new bag. I just picked this up. It jingled. It's golden. It's Gucci. Okay, I'm gonna take my $100 bill and put it inside my fancy dancy new bag, and whoo-hoo. Well, pretty nice, eh? Okay, I'm gonna take it for a little walk, a little boom, bang, bang, boom. All right, okay, I'm doing nothing. Misty, you take it for a walk. Show us what you got. All right, we got Misty Domenico walking the Spring Fashion Week. She has a new Gucci bag 2018. It's super fancy, it's super luxurious, and super expensive. All right, whew. You've done that before, eh?
Yep, in my younger days.
Your younger days. I don't want to ask how old you are. Okay, let's just take this out. After that crazy walk, Misty, what is it worth now?
$100.
$100! That's right, again, good job. You just earned yourself a second candy. You're killing it, 2 for 2. Okay, whew, I was worried at first, but now I'm not. Okay, this $100 bill is now on its way to Instatown, though, so I'm gonna need you to tell us a funny story while I take a photo.
I'm so bad at telling stories. I have a cat, and
Enough of that, sorry. Okay, just gonna put a few filters on this. Okay, sweet. Valencia. Okay, back table, check the team iMessage and put it up. Boom! Guys, check out that photo. Take a look at that photo. On point editing and the perfect filter, the Doge filter. It's great. Okay, taking a good look at that photo, Miss D. What is it worth now?
$100.
$100! Woohoo! Right again. Good job. That was crazy. You got them all right. Whew. You must have been a teacher or something before. All right. Okay, guys. Let's just bring it in. Just stay right there. Let's just bring it in for a second, though. That was ridiculous, right? Obviously, no matter what we do to the $100 bill, its value is always going to stay the same, right? No matter how we treat it or what environment we put it on or even posing it and putting it on social media, its value will always stay the same, right? Now, for real, though, just imagine if we could see ourselves the same way that we see this $100 bill, with unconditional worth. Imagine the things that we would start to recognize about ourselves and our friends and, even the people who go to the same school as us. I know the answers were pretty simple, but Misty, she got them right over and over again. And so can you guys. You guys can choose to see everyone's unchanging value. And when you do that, it might help dictate how you interact with each other moving forward. Okay, so now is one of my favorite parts. So the candies that Miss Diaz won aren't just any ordinary candies because that would be no fun. They're actually Bean Boozled jelly beans. So every bean has a flavor. Could be good, could be bad, we're not really sure. And here they are. We got berry blue or toothpaste. We got chocolate pudding or dog food. And we got peach or barf. My favorite one. Okay, so now you guys, this is where you guys come in and have to help out. You guys get to choose which one Miss D has to try, okay? So is it gonna be the berry blue or the toothpaste? Not at all, no, why be nice? All right, is it gonna be the chocolate pudding or the dog food? No, of course not. Okay, how about the peach or the barf? All right, since we know how much you enjoy these, go ahead, take the one on the left there. Yeah, peach or barf. All right. And yeah, bon appetit. Yeah, go for it. And
oh my God.
all right. Well, thank you so much for being up here, Misty. Give it up for Misty. You can take a seat now. No spitting that out. No cheating. Or go brush your teeth or something. All right. You guys have been great. Thank you so much. Now give it up again for 7 Less.
This song's about falling in love. I stare at how you smile at me. Your eyes so full of life, it's beauty at its best. I counted seconds, 1, 2, 3. And every moment I just wish that it will last. We don't even have to try. It feels so real that it just comes so easy. The world is turning to our side. Like neon signs are saying this is something. Hearts collide and love begins. Someone says sparks ignite. The night just fell and so did I. And that is when you said you're mine. It's all the subtle things you do. From instant sweetness turning into something new. You call it effortless pursuit. Like how both you and I felt time was on our side. It's true, the love will find its way. We're not still letting go, but we're not drifting. It's how much you would mean to me. From start to finish, falling is what we'll do. Hearts collide and love begins. Someone said it's sparks ignite. The night just fell and so did I. And that is when you said you're mine. There's nothing easier than this. When they start putting labels, who gives a kiss? It's how much you would mean to me. From start to finish, falling is what we'll do. Hearts collide and love begins. Someone said it's sparks ignite. Just fell and so did I. And that is when you said you're mine, mine.
My name is Otis, and I'm a trendsetter. This is my dad. He's the inventor of the fanny pack. Every night before I go to bed, I listen closely for some inspiration. When I was just a boy, he taught me how to get people to buy stupid stuff by making it look cool. These are just some of my t-shirt designs. Oh yeah, this one says cabbage. I gave this one to Justin Bieber. Sold 150 million of them. Oh, people only feel important if they have the right stuff, and it's my job to tell them what that stuff is. This is a necklace bag. It's a hot new design I'm working on. Keep all your cool stuff in there, like a gnome, baseball bat. These things are already all the rage in Sweden. You have to make people want something they don't even need. These are my designs from the fidget spinner boom of early 2017. I was a pioneer. Got metallic unicorn, biomedical symbol, and the golden snitchet spinner. Check out that hot fresh style. He makes vegetables look cool. Cabbage.
Hey guys. My name is Emmy. Do we have any artists in the room? Awesome, we'll have to talk after. I personally love drawing and painting. Do you guys mind if I show you one of my first paintings? Okay. So this one's called The Missing Piece, and I painted it about 4 years ago. When I first started art, I would get so angry with myself. You see, I wanted my art to be perfect, and I wanted myself to be perfect. My family is full of high achievers and hard workers. My dad's a CFO at a big company. My mom has her master's degree. My brother's in biomedical sciences, and my sister's an honor roll student and a talented soccer player. And I always felt like I couldn't live up to their standards or my own expectations. Grade school wasn't easy on me either. I remember this one time in grade 5. We were sitting in groups of 4 working on our science fair project when the kid across from me looks over at me and says, "Hey, Emmy, guess what?" I go, "What, Tyler?" And then he proceeds to tell me that I'm fat. I felt so embarrassed. And because I'm a sensitive person, I took it to heart and I felt guilty for being different. One particular Sunday night, I decided to tell my parents about the sadness I was feeling and how I hated going to school every day. I spent the entire mealtime working up the courage to tell them, and when I finally got the words out, I immediately regretted it. They didn't think it was a big deal. They brushed it off like I was just having a bad day. But it was just a year later that they found themselves pleading with me to go to an eating disorder clinic after I lost 50 pounds in a short period of time. I was so angry with my parents for making me go to this clinic, but I was even more angry with myself. I was being monitored and I couldn't control my weight anymore, so I began to harm myself. On February 17, 2012, everything finally caught up with me. My mom asked why I was wearing a long black shirt underneath my basketball jersey, and I got defensive. But the more defensive I got, the more concerned she became, until she eventually tackled me to the floor and forced up my sleeves. I remember lying on the floor for what felt like hours, waiting for my mom to make a bunch of calls, and things felt so surreal. That was the first of 56 nights in the hospital. I sat on the floor of this vividly green and empty bedroom with the words, "Change your outlook and you'll change your life," stenciled onto the wall. 2 weeks into my stay at the hospital, they asked me to go home on a pass to visit my family. That night, I attempted to take my own life. I remember my dad rushing home from Chicago and my mom crying at my bedside. I felt so incredibly ashamed of what I had done, and the guilt was monumental. A few days later, my mom walked into the visiting room, carrying some of my clothes and a large yellow envelope. At first, I thought to myself, oh no, in the midst of the most difficult time of my life, I now have all this homework that I need to catch up on. But as I opened the envelope, I found that it wasn't actually homework. Each of my classmates had written a letter to me, telling me how valued I was and how much they missed me. Each Sharpie-filled heart warmed my soul. This drawing reminds me of this time in my life. It's far from perfect, but it's progress, and progress adds up. And it was all the small things in my life that added up to help put me back together. It was the art and the journaling and the mindfulness, but it was especially the compassion shown from the people around me. A few months after I was discharged from the hospital, my dad took me to a storytelling night in the local town hosted by this art gallery. I saw that the art gallery was looking for volunteers, and I immediately became interested. This place quickly became my safe haven. 2 years after I started volunteering, the owner of the gallery, Melissa, pulled me aside and asked if I'd be willing to read one of my poems at their upcoming open mic night. I had never done anything like this before, and I was so nervous. I remember waiting for my turn at the mic. My face was red, and my heart was racing. When it was finally my turn on stage, I got up and I stumbled through my poem. But I got through it, and I kept going. As I walked back to my seat, a stranger pulled me aside and said, "That was so insightful. You are wise beyond your years." And then person after person came up to congratulate me and tell me how great I had done. And I never would have thought I could have been there on stage sharing my poem with all those people. And I never would have dreamt I could be here on stage sharing my story with all of you. If you are going through some of the things I went through, I want you to know that you will get through it, that no feeling lasts forever. But the important thing is to not do it alone. Talk to a parent or teacher or even Kids Help Phone. I also want you to know that you don't need to be defined by being perfect at school or art or sports. You can be defined by compassion, knowing you're loved and valued, and showing love to the people around you. This last painting is called Whimsical. It reminds me of how far I've come. Just like myself, it's not perfect, and that's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm an Instagram star. Just only try these out because, you know, when you look good on the outside, you feel good on the inside. That's how that works. That's science. Yeah, so it's not about being perfect. It's just about making people think that you're perfect. So this is like my green screen station because, like, I mean, why travel when you can, like, just pretend to travel? So just figuring out, like, where I should go. Today, I think I'm gonna go to Paris just because I'm cultured. Oh, 100 more likes. That's good, so I can keep track of my self-worth. So this is just like my food picture taking station. Just kind of like arrange things around, make them look nice and pretty and stuff. I don't actually eat any of this. I mean, like, it's what people want to see. So, like, whatever, but I'm actually pretty allergic to most of it. You know, it's amazing because I have all these friends all over the world. I have so many followers. Like, how could I possibly experience crippling loneliness?
Hey guys, my name is Jamie, and here at Live Different, we are passionate about seeing students live lives of compassion. Though there are many ways to do this locally, like volunteering here at your school or in your community, Live Different's Builds program provide you with the opportunity to volunteer internationally in places like Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Together with students like you, we have been able to provide safe and dry homes for over 500 families. This next video is about someone who is passionate about influencing a generation of students to create a difference in their global community. Check it out.
Someone I really looked up to in my life was Benjamin Cole Brown, who was one of the project managers for Live Different, and he helped to organize a lot of different builds in several different countries.
We love this community and we love seeing it changed.
Back in the early 2000s, when Cole went on his first trip down to the Dominican, when he came home, he could no longer be satisfied to continue in his own path with his own dreams, and chose not to forget the people that were suffering.
Through transforming people's homes and living conditions, it really changes their future in many ways.
So after that first build, his heart was absolutely shaken, I think. He ended up getting more and more involved and ultimately devoting his entire life and all of his time to this entire population. Well, our perspective changed as well. In 2012, we went to the Dominican Republic and he showed us hands-on some of the work that was going on. We walked into a family's house and it was just a mom and her 2 children. And I walked in and it was pretty much just a 2-room metal house. To leave knowing that they were going to receive a new home one day, it fills you with a great sense of hope and joy, because after the old is totally taken away and cleaned up and this new house is rebuilt to give this family the keys to their home, you can't help but smile about that. Having already so many accomplishments and so many goals for the future, last year Cole passed away in a tragic plane crash. Cole wasn't just someone I would follow on social media. He wasn't even just a mentor. He was my older brother. Cole would always say that life begins outside of your comfort zone. And he also taught me that no matter who you are or where you come from, you have the potential to make a great difference in the life of others. Cole is passionate about bringing volunteers from Canada to work alongside local families, contractors, communities, for the purpose of providing a safe place for people to call home.
You guys were created for great things, and greatness begins outside of your comfort zone. Small, compassionate acts have the power to change the world, and we've seen it done over and over again, one family at a time. But the cool thing about compassion is that it can change you. You see, I've had the opportunity to travel to the Dominican Republic and Mexico, and I've witnessed the compassion of those less fortunate than myself. I've seen the change that we can bring when we all work together. I remember every day as we drove up to the build site in Mexico, we would pull up and all of these kids would just come flooding out of these houses to come welcome us. And I remember just how happy these kids who had nothing were to see us and how willing they were to help. With Live Difference Builds programs, in 10 short days, you'll become like family. You'll go from strangers who have never met to individuals who have changed each other's lives forever. So travel with us, make new friends, and have a ton of fun on one of the most life-changing and rewarding trips of your life. If you're interested in joining us, text BUILD to the number on your screen or come talk to us at the back table after the show. Thank you.
In my household, there was always music playing, whether it was like family parties or just people passing the time or, you know, music while we're having breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I was always into writing, and my favorite part of class was the spelling bee and learning new words and then incorporating those words into story time. And in high school is when I got introduced more into writing my own music and like playing guitar. Actually, you know, through early high school, I was quite cocky. I was quite full of myself. I was very much about myself and putting other people down. Where I got my cues from and where I learned that from was hip-hop artists and athletes. You know, here I am being a 14-year-old thinking that I should aim to have riches and a lot of jewelry and like rapping and singing about things. A 14-year-old really shouldn't be saying those things. I aimed at this image of success, thinking that's what I wanted and that's what made me the happiest person, and then realized soon after that I was very, very wrong about that. In the getting sick portion of my life, my dad was the person that was like, it's okay, get back up, try again, rest, but don't stop. I remember this one time in the car, we had been going back and forth between home and the doctor's office over months. And before getting into the house, one day he just said, you know, it's gonna get better if you trust it. You're putting in the work and you're healing, and at some point this will be a small part of your life. Seeing that in a person and experiencing that firsthand made me shift my idea of my primary role models from celebrities who are far off in the distance to like the person, the love that's right in front of me. There's this one quote by this hip-hop artist named Shad that really resonates with me, and it's on a song called Knock, and it goes, we need less people trying to be somebody, more people trying to be human. And for me, that's this small mantra that summarizes how I want to go about my life. I find a lot of people in my community talking more about celebrities and famous people, more so than we do positively about, you know, like our brothers and sisters and friends and family. You know, it matters a lot to me that we celebrate the people in our communities first, the people that are right here beside us, because they're the people that are there for us every day, and they're the people that show us love.
Hello, everyone. What a good-looking crowd. Wow. I do not have the words to adequately express how excited I am. I flew in all the way from LA, and Canada is beautiful, and this is why I'm stoked. But I just have a question for you guys. How the heck do you survive in this condition? This weather, it's too cold, my goodness me. So anyway, my name is Rossik. Rossik is Caesar spelled backwards, and my dad's name is Caesar. He must have been proud of this, because I remember he would teach me how to write my name. He would then take that and tape it into a wall like it was a framed picture. It was a proud dad. Such a lovely scene. My mom was warm and kind. She would sing lullabies to me, though she can't sing. But we had a perfect home, really. It was warm, it was beautiful. But everything changed when I turned 6, when I was shipped to the Philippines to live with my grandparents until I finished high school. that physical distance from my parents has caused our relationship to deteriorate. So my dad has grown stern, harsh, and cold over time. I remember one time in the Philippines, we were about to drive on the way to my grandparents' place. I was playing with my friend's toy car, and as soon as my dad said, "Let's go," I threw the toy car back at my friend. He wasn't able to catch it, hit the floor, it shattered. I saw my dad, he then charged. He was walking on the way towards me, grabbed me at the back of my neck, and then dragged me on the way to the car, slammed my head against the car window, opened it, and threw me in there. I did not say anything for the entire car ride on the way to my grandparents' place. I did not want to acknowledge my existence. I wanted him to calm down and just like forget about his anger towards me, so then I could maybe reconcile with him. We arrived at my grandparents' place. He sat on the couch. I approached him then, and I attempted to give him a hug because, you know, I'm a kid. I want affection. But he shoved me away. He pushed me away. And for a kid younger than 10 years old that would be rejected by his parent like that, it affects you so much. So growing up, I was filled with rejection and pain. I would remember going to school with bruises all over me. I would remember vivid scenes of me being choked with a cord. And so all of these things has been happening as I was going through my childhood. And what ended up happening was there were all of these insecurities that was just resonating in my head, all of these nasty things I tell myself, because these were the words that my family would tell me as well. Two things that I was very insecure about was my height and my singing. I lost all confidence. And so somewhere in high school, I thought to myself, if only someone or something would come into my life and give me my worth. It's cold, it's Canada, you know. I'm not used to it. If only someone or something would come into my life and give me my worth. And then I met her. Fast forward, moved back to the States. For some reason, for some weird reason, I ended up dating this girl. There's something special about this girl though. I don't know how it happened, first of all, but it just happened. Do you guys know Miss Universe? Yeah? I'll explain to you guys, to whoever doesn't know. Miss Universe is the world's biggest beauty pageant, and this girl has come second place in the Miss Universe. So she's a girl of high profile and she towers over me. I don't even want to hold her hand when we're like dating outside because I can't, you know, if I'm holding her hands, I'm going to be like this because it's like I'm a child being dragged. So, yeah. But that relationship it gave me all of these false confidence and false identity and validation. I wrapped my worth, my identity around what she thought about me, what this relationship is all about. One time, I wanted to make this grand romantic gesture for her. I wrote a song. I produced it all myself, played the guitar, played the drums, programmed the drums, played the bass, and sang on it. We went out for a drive, and I played her the song. As soon as the song ended, I sat there quietly, was just expecting for her to be swooned by my gestures. But you know what she said? This was her response. Rossik, you're a good producer, but you can't sing. Because you don't sound good and you're just not born with it. I was crushed. It was devastating for someone so insecure to wrap my worth and validation on this girl and have her reject me, have her reject the very thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. Wow, it's crazy. 2 years into the relationship, she ended up leaving me for someone else. So all of these false confidence and weak identity that I held on to was ripped off of me. And so all of my insecurities flooded back over me. I was back at square one. Fell into depression. Was just heartbroken and just bleeding internally. One morning I grew up. I woke up with this heavy feeling on my chest. It's the same, wow. Did you guys see that? It was the same heavy feeling that I had felt the night before. It's this void that I have been feeling for so long when I was depressed. And the first thing that I wanted to do was hit up all of my friends so I could hang out with them, so I could distract myself from this pain that I am feeling. And by then I had grown so negative and so self-absorbed that most of my friends had started ignoring me. And they didn't want to have anything to do with me. But one friend of mine, he responded to me like, bro, I'm sorry, I really want to be there for you. I know what you are going through, but I am in a music video shoot. To me, that was just another excuse. But he then proceeded to take a time out of his day to share and open up to me about how he got out of his darkest season as well. That conversation led to me somehow opening my laptop, grabbed my guitar, and went on YouTube and searched for music that I never searched for. But this was music that was it was deeper, and it was spiritual. My intention was just to play along with it. But a few minutes and these words started to make so much sense. And it pierced through my pain that I, for some reason, comprehended it so much that I am valued. I am worthy. And that I don't need to attach my identity to someone else. But my worth could come from within. That was the start of my progress right there. And that was all triggered by my friend's act of compassion. It was not then long enough where I was given the same opportunity for me to share the same act of compassion to someone else. Last year, before coming over, I was hanging out with my friends in my living room, and this guy I knew texted me. He was asking if he could stay over at my place because he didn't have power at his house. I had to politely decline because we didn't have space. But then he got so mad for some reason. He was so triggered that he said, I'm gonna come over anyway. Came over to my place, intruded my space, started yelling at the top of his lungs. I tried to calm him down because my parents were sleeping and I didn't want to have them be involved. He went to my garage, punched a hole in the garage, went out of the garage and just started pacing back and forth so aggressively. He was really loud and I was pursuing him. I was trying to calm him down. I was trying to reason with him because he was starting to cause a disturbance in the neighborhood. So he then went back inside the house, grabbed his backpack. I thought he was going to leave already. He went outside of the garage again, and this is when he charged me. He was swinging his fist back and forth. I was trying to avoid him, just evade all of the punches. I got hit in the face 3 times, and then I just had this surge of anger. And I put my fist up, preparing to fight back. But in this moment, I remember what John, my friend who's going to come out right now, he told me these 4 wise words that just changed everything. Thank you, sir. Isn't it amazing building dreams with friends? Appreciate you, bro. But this is what he said. He said, hurt people hurt people. And in that moment, I chose not to fight back, but I chose to fight for him instead. He bursted into tears knowing that I was not going to fight back, but he just felt this act of compassion that I was showing him. We ended up having a conversation all throughout the night. And I learned about his stories that he has been that he's been going through. His dad and his mom was never home because his dad is out there busy satisfying his lust, betraying the family. His mom is just working. But every time his parents are inside the house, all they do is yell at the top of their lungs, saying all of these nasty things to each other. So for a kid to witness divorce in progress, it affects them. So I wrote this song about him. This is about having a house but no home. The song is called Homeless.
Save me for the last time. I'm trying, but there's no one here. They don't understand what it's like to be pushed, when all I need is just a friend. I swear I'm trying hard, but down low I'm on my way. So high on pain since they're never home. Once in lust, so I'm all alone. She's out there stuck in what she's known. This house won't feel like home. My friends don't like me. One by one they turn their back. It's so hard to feel no one is holding me. Is it too hard to live a life? I swear I'm trying hard, but this storm I have to face. And so I'm high on pain since they're never home. Once in lust, so I'm all alone. She's out there stuck in what she's known. This house won't feel like home. I swear I'm trying hard. There's only one to blame. So I'm high on pain since they're never home. Once in lust, so I'm all alone. She's out there stuck in what she's known. This house won't feel. This house won't feel. This house won't be a home.
If your purpose in life was a GPS, which way would you be heading? What is the truth that drives you forward? This is a moment to define your direction. Right now, each and every one of us has an incredible opportunity to realize that our value is not determined by money, popularity, or achievements, but instead we can understand that simply by existing, we are valuable. When you do this, when you let go of the anxious pressure to define your worth with superficial stuff, then, and only then, can we be free to live our lives chasing after the things that are more meaningful. To give our lives over to things that bolster the soul rather than build the ego. When compassion becomes your compass, you can start to live a life of depth and beauty, leaving behind a legacy of love wherever life takes you. A legacy that tells yourself and the world that failure can be beautiful. that forgiveness is greater than hate, and that a life lived for others is a life well spent. Because if we adopted this one idea, that compassion is the new success, and we let that steer our lives, amazing things would start to happen. You would begin to see that no one sits alone at lunchtime, and everyone gets a chance to be heard. You see, compassion is simply love with shoes on, able to run around the world changing the lives of the hurting and the oppressed, able to see the injustice and suffering of others as opportunities for healing, to believe that equality is not something that is out of reach. We all have the potential to live a life with this kind of purpose, to see the virtue in committing our lives to creating a positive impact. But first, we need to let go of the ideas that have been holding us back and take a moment to reimagine greatness.
You guys have been an awesome audience. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. Awesome. As the leader of this team, though, I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge all of my team members that were up on here on stage today and off the stage as well. It takes a lot of courage to get up here and just open up, so I'm grateful that they were all willing to share. Now, if anything you heard today resonated with you, we want to encourage you guys to reach out and connect with someone that you can trust, either a teacher or a counselor here in your school, or we'll also be at our back table in the hallway after the presentation. And there's also this amazing resource available to you guys, and it's called the Kids Help Phone. It's a great confidential way for you to just reach out and connect with someone that you can trust. But either way, whatever you choose to do, we want you to know that you're not alone and that people are there for you. Also, if you wanted to find out any more information about our Live Different builds or how you can get involved with us, make sure to come chat with us afterwards. And we also have this really cool opportunity for you guys to turn this message into action. Now, we're hoping that you're feeling inspired, and we love that. But it doesn't mean a whole lot unless you can turn that feeling into an action. So we provided your teachers with some fun follow-up activities, so make sure to ask them about those later on. And at this time, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to 7 Less for volunteering their time with us here today. Make sure to check out their merch table in the hallway afterwards. Also, a huge thank you to our interns for volunteering their time as well. And I also wanted to thank the Boston Pizza Foundation, Future Prospects, and the Samantha Mason Foundation for all of their support. And of course, your staff and your teachers for having us here today. So let's give them all a huge round of applause. Awesome. And at this time, I would like to call up JP to finish things off. Great. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. What a great job, eh? Man, they did great. Could I get the whole team up here? The back table. You were just up here, but come back up here. Sweet. And is Rossik around? Sweet. A bunch of people. Cool. As they make their way up. Takes a lot of people to make this happen, and a lot of like the videos, the people behind the scene, Ashley, Josh, everybody. And then these guys, they've worked so hard, and I'm so proud of them. So if we could just give them like one more round of applause, that'd be awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Awesome. So right now we're going to take about 15 minutes. If we could all clear out so that the other team can do a sound check and get ready.
When you dance, 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 feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, 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 come on. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, 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 and ain't nobody leaving soon. So keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, dance, dance. I can't stop the feeling. So just dance, 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 come on.
How's everyone doing today?
So we are a Canadian charity called Live Different, and we are so pumped to be here with you guys today.
We have volunteers from all across Canada here with you to share some of their real-life stories.
We're also going to see one of your teachers do something a little interesting, learn that all you guys are more than enough exactly the way you are, and you're also going to hear from our band, Encore.
So prepare yourself for an hour of laughter, inspiration, and music that will just rock your face off.
Let's not delay this any longer, Dan.
Let's do it.
Now I said, hold up. Wait a minute. Now hold up. Wait a minute. Now hold up. Wait a minute. Hey, I guess I'm gonna say, I said now bang. Can I show the world I got a brand new dance? Say bang. Can I show the world I got a brand new dance? Say bang. Gotta show the girls I got a brand new dance. Say bang. Bang. 1, 2, 3, go. How you guys doing today? Can I hear you scream? All right, this one's called Get Up. Let's do it. Let's do it together now. All right, here we go. Everybody try to tell me that I lose the game. If you wanna be a rock star, boy, you better get yourself a new name. Trying to tell me to give up my dreams unless I can change. Hey, but I know what's right for me, so I'll stay the same. They think another know what I wanna do, how I wanna be, and where I'm gonna choose, where I'm gonna be. Richer on the streets, everything I can just for being me. Wanna do it all, never wanna fall. Gotta get big and never stay small. Do it every night, I look him in the eye, tell him straight up, this is my life. We are above the ground, we are head in the clouds. You feel like they're trying to keep you down. Listen to yourself and get up, get up, get up right now. You don't understand it if you don't know. Someone else is the song, but it's your show. Oh, listen to our sound and get up, get up, get up right now. I said that you should go and do what you wanna do. This is your life, play for your rules. Come up in the street, look in your face, be the man in the mirror and make that change. Take that fire and let it grow. Look down the road. No, can't say no, do another show. Yeah, always look ahead, but still should know. We are above the ground, we are head in the clouds. You feel like we're trying to keep you down. Listen to yourself and get up, get up, get up right now. You don't understand if you don't know. Someone else is the song, but it's your show. Listen to our sound and get up, get up, get up. Hey, yeah. Get up right now. All right, guys, I want to hear you scream even louder than before. Go. All right, I need everybody's help in this next part. Can you all get down? Everyone's gonna get low, all right? A little low with me. Everybody, if you're in the chair, that's fine. Just sit lower, all right? Everybody do it. Everyone's gonna get really low. And this next part kicks in. We're gonna lose our minds. We're gonna scream as loud as we can to the top of our lungs. I see everyone except for JP in the back doing it. Crouch down. Here we go. All right, we're gonna do this together. This is awesome. This looks amazing. Here we go. Let's do it. All right. When you're above the ground with your head in the clouds, you feel like they're trying to keep you down. Listen to yourself and get up, get up, get up right now. If you don't understand, if you don't know, someone else is the song, but it's your show. Listen to our sounds and get up, get up, get up. Now scream, you're above the ground. We are heading loud. You feel like they're trying to keep you down. Listen to yourself and get up, get up, get up right now. You don't understand it
Have you ever wondered, why are we the most stressed out and anxious generation? Maybe it's because our entire foundation is wrong. Like a rocket launching off a crooked launching pad, maybe we're launching ourselves into a life that's missing what's really important. Since you were a child, people have been asking you, what do you want to do when you grow up? But no one ever asks, who do you want to become? We are more concerned with the job we'll have and the money we'll make than the love that we'll share with the people around us. When you think about the word success, what does it mean? If you were to go online and look up synonyms for the word success, you'd find words like fame, profit, prosperity, wealth. We spend so much time trying to achieve these goals. Being cool, being popular, having the right things, trying to prove our worth to the people around us. But research has shown that these things do not make us happy, and we are stressed out under the pressure of trying to achieve things that don't actually help us. $220 billion are spent on advertising in North America every year, trying to convince you that the good life can be found through the goods life, that in order to be, you must buy. The famous actor and comedian Jim Carrey once said, "I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so that they can see it's not the answer." So is there a better way?
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? My name's Alessa, and I just had a really quick question for everybody. Who here has something that they really love to do, whether it's like sports, movies, art, anybody? Yeah, a bunch of us, cool. When I was growing up, I was involved in so many things. I skied and snowboarded, I took dance lessons, I was a gymnast. I even played t-ball for a little while, and like nobody knows what that is, but that's okay. Basically, if there was an activity to be done, I did it. You see, for me, things were seemingly perfect growing up. If you would have asked any of my friends, they would have told you that I had things easy because I came from a family with money, and I had older siblings that would do just about anything to protect me. I was surrounded by friends that loved me. And you see, for me, summers, they were spent on my family houseboat, and anything that I ever wanted was always within hand's reach. But things weren't always easy. I once sat where you are. I remember the classes being called down to the gym one by one, and man, did I dread the thought of the upper year students getting the bleachers and the rest of us having to sit on the cold floor. Almost 10 years ago, I was sitting right where you are, looking up at a stranger, wondering what the heck I was about to see. Because this stage and these lights, it was just something that my small town wasn't used to. But as that person on stage began to speak, it was the first time that I caught a glimpse of hope. The first time that I realized that I didn't have to be a character in someone else's story. You see, when I was a little girl, I felt as though my story had been written for me before I even had the chance to learn to hold a pencil. Because for the first 12 years of my life, I was abused by my father. And I believed the lies that I couldn't tell anybody. I can still remember the day that my parents decided it was time to get a divorce. It was about 5 a.m., and I woke up to the sound of my mom searching the house for my father. After some time, it fell silent, and all I could hear was the sound of her rocking chair going back and forth and back and forth. And then the patio door, it slid open, and the fighting began. I remember laying in my bed so still, just hoping that no one would know that I was awake. But then the fighting, it escalated, and it ended with my dad yelling, "You know what? You can keep the kids." And he slammed the door and walked away. In that moment, I just ran to my bedroom window so quickly, just in time to peek through the curtains and see him drive off into the distance. And so the next few weeks, I remember people, they were expecting me to feel sad and confused, and though I'm sure those emotions, they were probably definitely among the mix, all I can remember was that for the first time in my 12 years of life, I finally felt safe in my own home. And the next few years, they were a time of anger and confusion for my family. You see, my father, he had fallen critically ill, and my mother, trying to keep their differences aside, she pushed us to have a relationship with him. The more ill he fell, the quicker there was pressure to have us visit. And every single time I did, I felt this overwhelming sense of insecurity. It would just rush over me. But still, I told no one. And so I was 16 years old, and I moved out of my mother's house. And I found myself in a toxic and unsafe relationship where together we had moved from apartment to apartment, and the longer that I was away from home, the more I found myself lying about my situation. I woke up every single day gripped with fear, just wondering what would come. I still couldn't find the courage within myself to tell my family and friends that I was again struggling with abuse. And so there was one particular Tuesday morning, and everything changed for me. I can still hear the sounds of the handcuffs clicking shut around my wrist and the officer telling me that I had the right to remain silent. And I looked across my apartment at my partner, and they were just kicking and screaming and swearing at the officers, and it was the types of things that you should only see in the movies. In that moment, I stood there with cold steel handcuffs hanging off of my thin, frail wrists, and all I could wonder is, how did I let my life get so far out of control? An abusive and manipulative relationship, multiple forms of self-harm, and substance abuse. I was just so stuck in this life that I didn't want, and a cycle that I didn't know how to break out of. But it was in that moment that I was no longer seeing through corrupted eyes. It had all become so clear to me. I'd become a mirror image of everything that I'd always said I would never be. The police, they didn't charge me that day, but it was enough to finally break the cycle. And so I moved back in with my mom, and I started facing my problems head on. It started with realizing that no amount of money or belongings was going to mask the pain that I was feeling on the inside, and that friends, they have to be more than people you just call up when you want to party. I'd always known the person that I'd wanted to be, and it's as if I was finally ready to start taking the steps to be the person that makes a difference in the world. And so I once sat where you are, but there's a huge difference between the girl that you see standing on this stage today and the young girl that was sitting out in that crowd 10 years ago. Today, I would tell my 13-year-old self that you are not only enough, but you are loved, and you're valuable just the way you are. Most importantly, you're worth the support of your family and friends. It starts with compassion and love for yourself. It's okay to embrace where you've come from and trust your struggle. Know that you're worth something so much more, though. You see, for me, the pain of my past, it was trying to dictate my future. But when I finally took responsibility for the direction that my life was headed, I began to write a legacy of love. Thank you all so much for listening today.
Yo, my name's Greg, and I am stupid rich. Yeah, I guess when I was born, I was a baby, and my parents were rich. Yo, doubling up with the 2 microwaves. Preheat up here, cook it down here. You know, the worlds are not meant to be equal. Some people are lions, like moi, rawr, right? And some people are just toads, sitting in the swamp. And the lion's gonna eat that toad. I bought little Pooks off an emperor. Hey Pooks, you wanna do a Dukes in your litter box? When you can literally make everyone feel awful because they don't have what you have, that's when you know you've arrived. Yo, so when I duke a deuce, I do it on sparkling water, because that way it's super fresh. Yo, check out the fizz. So this is my boy Randall. He does whatever I tell him to do, because he's my bro. Pay him big bucks. He's also my only friend. So. You can never have too much of what you want, because what you want is what you need. Yo, 5 G's for this face lotion, brah. It's made from the tears of baby bald eagles. It's kind of stinging my eyes a bit. At the end of your life, you're gonna lay in the hospital bed, you're thinking, how much dope stuff did I collect, right? That's what's gonna matter.
Hey, hello everybody. How's everybody enjoying the show so far? Awesome. So I'm just gonna need your guys' help for this next thing. It's an experiment that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I'm gonna need one of your favorite Live Different staff members to come up here and help me out. So is there a Mr. Wood somewhere here? Where is he? Mr. Wood, come on up, join me on stage here. There you are, come on right up here, right here center stage. Nice to meet you, Mr. Wood. My name's Jackson. How are you today? Awesome, good. So, now, I just want to make sure, too, it is the last name, what is it? Just want to make sure I'm getting it right. Wood, awesome. Okay, so, all I'm going to need, Mr. Right, is 3 simple, Mr. Wrong, okay. So, 3 simple scenarios. I'm just going to need you to answer a couple of questions. Very easy. Easy? You think is that okay? Awesome. Okay. So, scenario number 1. I'm going to reach into my pocket here and pull out this fresh, crisp, nope, can't touch, $100 bill. Smells like maple. I bet it tastes like it too. Do you want to take a bite and try? Oh, wow. You don't know where that's been. I didn't expect you to do that, but okay. Anyways, so keep an eye on this bill here for one. No, don't touch. Just eyes only. Hey, $100 bill. You stink, and I don't really like you. You have no friends, and I wouldn't even put you in my wallet if I had to, or trade in 100 loonies for you. Yeah. So, Mr. Wellington, after that $100 bill has been treated so poorly, how much is it worth now?
$100.
$100. You are correct. 1 for 1. Give it up for Mr. Washington. That's 1 for 1. 1 correct answer. Now, we're going to go on to scenario number 2. Please put a number 1 up in the air, too, because you have won 1 candy. That's awesome. Good for you. Oh, no. Keep that up there. There you go. There you go. So, scenario number 2 now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brand new $100 bill. I'm going to come right over here, side stage, and ooh, what do we have here? Check it out, guys. I got my brand new. My parents were so good to me at Christmas. Got me this brand new bag. Oh, I'm so lucky. So expensive, too. So I'm just going to put this $100 bill right here in my bag, okay? And by the way, Kendall and Kylie called. They want to go for lunch, so I got to go meet all my expensive friends. I'm going to throw it on my shoulder, and I want to go for a walk. Here we go. Bam, bam, strutting my stuff, making it look good. Oh, guys, it's Gucci, by the way. Yeah, so, Mr. Wyoming, so this $100 bill placed in such a luxurious and expensive environment. But how much is it worth now?
$100.
$100, 2 for 2. Give it up for Mr. Ryan. That is correct. You got it right. You're awesome. Now put that number 2 up in the air for everybody. Show it to them. You have to go number 2? I'm sorry. You're gonna have to hold on to that for a second. We got a show to do. We got to finish show because we have scenario number 3. Let me just get rid of my expensive Gucci bag. And so, this one I'm gonna need a little bit more of your help. So if you don't mind just grabbing the mic and telling audience a little bit about yourself while I go take a picture. Awesome.
Hello. I do enjoy a good number 2 at times.
Okay, that's a little too much information. That's enough out of you. So, I just took that picture really quick, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull my phone out one more time, and I'm gonna edit it a little bit. Throw some Venezuela filter on there, get it ready to go. I'm gonna send it to the back table. You guys got it? Yeah, and I'm gonna throw it right up on the screen, and bam! Check that out. Who knew you could do that? Got the dog filter. Man, Robert Borden has never looked so good. I mean, check that out. That's gonna go on social media. Easy. 2,000 likes. Like, oh, my phone's already going off. I'm getting the likes. They're already coming in. Look at that. So now, posted perfectly on social media. So many likes. So popular. But how much is it worth now?
$100.
$100. 3 for 3. You are awesome. You're amazing. Give it up, everybody. Give it up for Mr. Washington. 3 for 3. And now, if you could just hold yourself here for 1 second, please. So, guys, obviously, no matter what we did with this bill, its value never changed. Whether we placed it in a luxurious environment, or if we treated it poorly, or even if we posted it perfectly on social media, its value stayed the same. And at the end of the day, all this is just a piece of plastic, but it's crazy to think that sometimes we don't see ourselves as having that same value. It's crazy to think that sometimes we treat others differently because they come from different circumstances or situations. But imagine what the world could be like if we recognized everybody's unchanging value. And it's not that difficult. Just like Mr. Ryan over here got the answer right every single time. You guys can do the same thing. If you choose to recognize everybody's unchanging value, maybe that will dictate and hopefully help and change how we treat each other going forward. All right, Mr. Wilson. So, this next part, you may be wondering, where's the number 3, by the way? You're supposed to have that in the air. Come on, there you go. So, you may be wondering, what are these mysterious candies that you've been winning? Well, Mr. Ryan, the truth is you have been bean-boozled. Check it out. Dun, dun, dun. And what that means, you guys know what that is, right? Yeah? For those of you that don't know, what it means is these candies could taste really amazing or absolutely disgusting. So, what you're going to do, audience is going to help me out on this one, and the different flavors they could be are either lime or lawn clippings, coconut or spoiled milk, or tutti frutti or stinky socks. So what's going to happen, I'm going to point to the bean, And if that's the bean that you want Mr. Wellen to eat, you got to make some noise. Cheer as loud as you can, okay? So first, let's go lime or lawn clippings. Yeah, no, not that one. You're not going to get off that easy. How about coconut or spoiled milk? Okay, not bad. What about tutti frutti or stinky socks? All right, looks like you got the second one there. So what we're going to do, going to grab just that white one there. And one sec, don't eat it yet. Guys, I know I'm hoping, and I'm sure you're all hoping that he gets the right one. So, let's just knock on wood. But, so wait. Audience, I'm going to need your help on this one. We're going to count them down. Okay, so eat the candy in 3. And go. Yeah, we got him. Thank you very much for coming up and help here. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much. And audience, thank you to you guys as well. You were great. And now please put your hands together. Make some noise once again for Encore.
Took a long, hard look at my life. Lost my way while I was fighting the tide. A big black cloud, stormy sky, followed me while I was living a lie. So heartless, so selfish, so in darkness when all your nights are starless, running out of hope. Strength inside to see the better part of me, and I never let it go. I come a long, long way with a lot of mistakes, but I'm breathing, that's right, and I mean it. This time I'm a little run down. I've been living out loud. I can beat it, that's right, 'cause I'm feeling invincible. When you're gone for a day on your own, come so hard out just to find your way home. I've been so high, I've sunk so low. I've come so far with nothing to show for it. Mistaken, I got so good at taking, but now I'm tired of faking. The story's getting I found the strength inside to see, found the better part of me, and I'll never let it go. I come a long, long way, made a lot of mistakes, but I'm breathing, that's right, and I mean it. This time I'm a little run down. I've been living out loud. I can beat it, that's right, 'cause I'm feeling, sing with me, invincible. You're not the only one that crashed into the sun, live to fight another day. Like a supernova, your world is over. Now I'm here to stay. Now I'm gonna be invincible.
name is Otis, and I'm a trendsetter. This is my dad. He's the inventor of the fanny pack. Every night before I go to bed, I listen closely for some inspiration. When I was just a boy, he taught me how to get people to buy stupid stuff by making it look cool. These are just some of my t-shirt designs. Oh yeah, this one says cabbage. I gave this one to Justin Bieber. Sold 150 million of them. Oh, people only feel important if they have the right stuff, and it's my job to tell them what that stuff is. This is a necklace bag. It's a hot new design I'm working on. Keep all your cool stuff in there, like a gnome, baseball bat. These things are already all the rage in Sweden. You have to make people want something they don't even need. These are my designs from the fidget spinner boom of early 2017. I was a pioneer. Got metallic unicorn, biomedical symbol, and a golden snitchet spinner. Check out that hot fresh style. He makes vegetables look cool. Cabbage.
Hey everybody, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my life, but first off, I'm going to start with the question. So, who here was obsessed with superheroes growing up? Anybody? Some of you guys like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, okay. Wonder Woman, ladies, anybody? So, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with superheroes, and I would also like pretend sometimes that I had superpowers. So I'd like shoot lasers out of my eyes, I could have like super speed, super strength, and I could even like move things with my mind. It was pretty cool. But my favorite superhero, by far, was Superman. And I was genuinely convinced that I was Superman. So I'd have this Superman cape that I'd wear, and yeah, aw, look how cute I was. Like, what happened? And so I feel like, too, when I was a kid, I had all these ideas of what it meant to be great. And it was to do with superpowers and these larger-than-life abilities. And I thought that's what was really important. But as I got older, I started to realize that these larger-than-life abilities weren't what it meant to be important. Because importance and greatness was a lot more simple than that. And I first started to realize this when I got home from school after my first day of grade 5. My mom got home from work, and she asked my brother and I to sit down at the kitchen table to talk. And in that moment, I can remember just feeling like really nervous, like I had this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach because we never really did anything like that unless it was something serious. And my brother and I on that day were wondering why our cousin Allie wasn't at school. So my mom sat us down and told us that Allie had to switch schools to a school that offered a special education program because she didn't feel safe at our school anymore. And hearing this it made me feel sick. Like I felt so gross inside because to me, Allie was such a loving and joyful and compassionate person who loved to laugh. And I loved the things about her, like how she loved cats and wanted to dye her hair another color. And I just didn't understand why people would treat her so poorly. And I knew she was different, but I love my cousin. And I didn't understand why other people couldn't show her that same love too. It just made me feel so sad that she had to switch schools, completely change her life just because people didn't show her acceptance and love. And so right then and there, I knew that this wasn't the way that things should be. Things should be different than this. And when I was a kid, I knew that I wanted to learn how I could help other people bring compassion and unity to a world that at times was broken and judgmental. And so when I got to high school, I started to volunteer with Special Olympics as a coach, and I helped out with my school's special education program. And it was when I was coaching that I met a guy named Kenny. Kenny's an amazing guy. He's in his late 40s, and he always puts others first. And he's the best teammate, too. Man, he'd always cheer everybody on, congratulate them, and he'd do that fist bump where you go up and you do like that explosion after. He's awesome. And the thing about him is he's always concerned, more than anything else, about being a great guy. He'd often actually ask me, Jackson, I'm a good guy, aren't I? Every day. And I'd always assure him that he was, because it was so true. And the amazing thing about Kenny was how wise he was. And I didn't realize how much I could really learn from him. He was one of those guys and those people that, when you see them, he just lights up the room. And he makes everybody want to be around him, and it really helped me get my mind off of things. and it helped me get an escape from what was going on at home. You see, when I was in high school, my parents got a divorce, but continued to live together for over 2 years. So home really didn't feel like home, and it was a really tough place to be. And it got so bad that I became like a sounding board for my parents as they basically expressed their hatred of each other behind their backs to me. And it just gave me this feeling like I had to choose sides. And the side I ended up choosing was my mom's. And because of this, my dad and I's relationship, which was very solid at the time, started to deteriorate and get worse and worse. And it got to the point where it was almost like he was my enemy. And it even got so bad at points that at dinner time, I'd take my dinner, go upstairs to my room, and eat it by myself just so I didn't have to spend time with him. So that's why when I went to practice, it was always an escape. And there was one practice that I can remember so distinctly that Kenny said something to me that really essentially changed my life. It was at practice, and he was talking about his brother, who he loved so much, and he was going to see him that weekend. And he came up to me, and he looked me in the eye and said, "Family's really important, isn't it, Jackson?" And for a second, I just paused to take what he had said in. And in that moment, it was like a release in my heart. And I knew right then and there that I had to change my attitude, and I had to try to treat my dad better. Because if I had kept going in the path that I was, our relationship would have been destroyed forever. And in that moment, it was also so clear that these people that I was coaching and working with weren't second-class citizens. They weren't people who should be pitied or looked down upon. But they were people who had so much value and people who you can learn so much from. And I'm proud to say that since that conversation with Kenny, my dad and I's relationship has been better than ever. And I partially owe that to him. And it was because of things like this that when I got to grade 12 and met a girl named Gabby, right away I knew we'd become the best of friends. I chose to take part in an integrated phys ed class that included students from the special education program. And Gabby right away reminded me so much of my cousin Allie. She was the same loving, joyful personality that lit up the room whenever she was in it. And she loved to laugh, and then she also loved things like cats, and she also wanted to dye her hair another color as well. And when I was a kid, I saw how Allie was treated, and I saw how she didn't feel welcome, and she didn't feel loved by her peers and people around her. And so I knew when I met Gabby that I wanted to make sure she didn't experience the same thing. And so throughout the year, we got closer and closer, and we became really good friends. And I actually ended up coaching some of the sports teams that she was on too. So then at the end of the year, when prom time came around, I knew that I had to ask Gabby to go with me. And I can remember that night like it was yesterday. It was an amazing night. She showed up with her whole family. They took a bunch of pictures, and she had that purple streak in her hair and her purple dress to match that she'd always wanted. It was a special night. And I remember we danced and had dinner and had fun with all our friends, but there's one moment that stood out above all the rest that I'm never going to forget. It was near the end of the night, and the whole grade 12 class was dancing around on the dance floor, having a great time. And it just so happened that Gabby and I ended up in the middle. All of our friends around us dancing, having a great time. And in that moment, for a second, it was like everything slowed down and went into slow motion. And I was able to just take a step back and take it all in. And I remember looking across and seeing the joy and the big smile on Gabby's face, and seeing all of our friends around us, how accepting they were, and how they weren't apprehensive at all about her being there and her being around us. She was just one of our friends. And in that moment, I had this overwhelming sense that this was something beautiful. For that 1 second in time where we were free from the brokenness and the judgments of the world. And I knew that this is the way that things should be. And so when we're kids, we have these different ideas of what importance and what greatness is. And it's associated with things like superpowers and these abilities. But the reality is that greatness is a lot more simple than that. It's the small, compassionate acts that acknowledge every person, no matter where they're from or what they look like or what their background is. And when we choose to do that, we can find ourselves in true moments of beauty. There's this one quote that I love that says, "I'm not interested whether or not you have stood with the great, but I'm more interested in whether you have sat with the broken. And so when you all walked into this building today, what was the first thing on your mind? Was it maybe your image or your status or what friend group you go and hang out with? Was it maybe your clothing or making sure you had the coolest gadgets and technology? It's like sometimes we can just coast our way through life and we let other people's ideas and society's ideas of success and what's important really drown out what's really important in our lives. But imagine for 1 second if when you walked into the building today, you just stopped. And for 1 second, you put down those ideas of success. And you chose to replace those ideas of success with compassion and love. What could the world be like? What if instead of possessions and popularity making all of our choices, what if it was compassion and love? What if as a group we could redefine what success and importance are with compassion and kindness? What could the world be like if we redefine those things and lived a life of love? Thank you very much, guys.
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm an Instagram star. Just definitely try these out because, you know, when you look good on the outside, you feel good on the inside. That's how that works. It's science. Yeah, so it's not about being perfect. It's just about making people think that you're perfect. So this is like my green screen station because, like, I mean, why travel when you can, like, just pretend to travel? So just figuring out, like, where I should go today. I think I'm gonna go to Paris just because I'm cultured. Oh, 100 more likes. That's good, so I can keep track of my self-worth. So this is just like my food picture taking station. Just kind of like arrange things around, make them look nice and pretty and stuff. I don't actually eat any of this. I mean, like, it's what people want to see. So, like, whatever, but I'm actually pretty allergic to most of it. You know, it's amazing because I have all these friends all over the world. I have so many followers. Like, how could I possibly experience crippling loneliness?
We Live Different, we are extremely passionate about seeing students live lives of compassion. And while there are many opportunities to do so, like in your local communities or here at your school, through the Live Different Builds program, students have the opportunity to volunteer internationally in Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Mexico. Together with the help of students like yourselves, we've been able to build safe and dry homes for over 500 families. This next video is about someone who is extremely passionate about influencing the next generation of students to make a difference in the global communities. Let's take a look.
Someone I really looked up to in my life was Benjamin Cole Brown, who was one of the project managers for Live Different, and he helped to organize a lot of different builds in several different countries.
We love this community and we love seeing it changed.
Back in the early 2000s when Cole went on his first trip down to the Dominican, when he came home, he could no longer be satisfied to continue in his own path with his own dreams, and chose not to forget the people that were suffering.
Through transforming people's homes and living conditions, it really changes their future in many ways.
And so after that first build, his heart was absolutely shaken, I think. He ended up getting more and more involved and ultimately devoting his entire life and all of his time to this entire population. Well, our perspective changed as well. In 2012, we went to the Dominican Republic and he showed us hands-on some of the work that was going on. We walked into a family's house and it was just a mom and her 2 children. And I walked in and it was pretty much just a 2-room metal house. To leave knowing that they were going to receive a new home one day, it fills you with a great sense of hope and joy, because after the old is totally taken away and cleaned up and this new house is rebuilt, to give this family the keys to their home. You can't help but smile about that. Having already so many accomplishments and so many goals for the future, last year Cole passed away in a tragic plane crash. Cole wasn't just someone I would follow on social media. He wasn't even just a mentor. He was my older brother. Cole would always say that life begins outside of your comfort zone. And he also taught me that no matter who you are or where you come from, you have the potential to make a great difference in the life of others. Cole is passionate about bringing volunteers from Canada to work alongside local families, contractors, communities, for the purpose of providing a safe place for people to call home.
You were all created to do great things. And greatness begins when you step outside your comfort zone. Small, compassionate acts have the power to change the world. And we've seen this happen time and time again, one family at a time. But the cool thing about compassion is that it also has the power to change you too. Recently, I had the opportunity to travel down to Mexico and build a home for a mother and her daughter. It was a huge lesson for me in resilience and the determination it takes to push through obstacles and failure. Throughout the week, I had the opportunity to work alongside Alma and Irma, and I soon realized that not only were we building them a safe home that's going to change their entire family bloodline forever, but we were also developing relationships that will last a lifetime. With Live Different Builds, in just 10 short days, you'll become like part of the family. You go from strangers who have never met before to individuals who have changed each other's lives forever. So travel with us, make new friends, and have tons of fun in one of the most life-changing and rewarding experiences you can imagine. If you guys are interested in coming on one of our builds, come right over to the back table after the show. I'd love to see each and every single one of you there. Thank you very much.
In my household, there was always music playing, whether it was like family parties or just people passing the time or, music while we're having breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I was always into writing, and my favorite part of class was the spelling bee and learning new words and then incorporating those words into story time. And in high school is when I got introduced more into writing my own music and like playing guitar. Actually, through early high school, I was quite cocky. I was quite full of myself. I was very much about myself and putting other people down. Where I got my cues from and where I learned that from was hip-hop artists and athletes. Here I am being a 14-year-old thinking that I should aim to have riches and a lot of jewelry and like rapping and singing about things. A 14-year-old really shouldn't be saying those things. I aimed at this image of success, thinking that's what I wanted and that's what made me the happiest person, and then realized soon after that I was very, very wrong about that. In the getting sick portion of my life, my dad was the person that was like, it's okay, get back up, try again, rest, but don't stop. I remember this one time in the car, we had been going back and forth between the home and the doctor's office over months. And before getting into the house, one day he just said, it's gonna get better if you trust it. You're putting in the work and you're healing. And at some point, this will be a small part of your life. Seeing that in a person and experiencing that firsthand made me shift my idea of my primary role models from celebrities who are far off in the distance to like the love that's right in front of me. There's this one quote by this hip hop artist named Shad that really resonates with me, and it's on his song called Knock. and it goes, we need less people trying to be somebody, more people trying to be human. And for me, that's the small mantra that summarizes how I want to go about my life. I find a lot of people in my community talking more about celebrities and famous people, more so than we do positively about, our brothers and sisters and friends and family. It matters a lot to me that we celebrate the people in our communities first, the people that are right here beside us, because they're the people that are there for us every day, and they're the people that show us love.
If your purpose in life was a GPS, which way would you be heading? What is the truth that drives you forward? This is a moment to define your direction. Right now, each and every one of us has an incredible opportunity to realize that our value is not determined by money, popularity, or achievements, but instead we can understand that simply by existing, we are valuable. When you do this, when you let go of the anxious pressure to define your worth with superficial stuff, then, and only then, can we be free to live our lives chasing after the things that are more meaningful, to give our lives over to things that bolster the soul rather than build the ego. When compassion becomes your compass, you can start to live a life of depth and beauty, leaving behind a legacy of love wherever life takes you. A legacy that tells yourself and the world that failure can be beautiful, that forgiveness is greater than hate, and that a life lived for others is a life well spent. Because if we adopted this one idea, that compassion is the new success, and we let that steer our lives, amazing things would start to happen. You would begin to see that no one sits alone at lunchtime, and everyone gets a chance to be heard. You see, compassion is simply love with shoes on, able to run around the world changing the lives of the hurting and the oppressed, able to see the injustice and suffering of others as opportunities for healing, to believe that equality is not something that is out of reach. We all have the potential to live a life with this kind of purpose, to see the virtue in committing our lives to creating a positive impact. But first, we need to let go of the ideas that have been holding us back and take a moment to reimagine greatness.
All right, guys, this is our last song. Thank you for coming out. We'll hopefully talk to you guys after the show. Remember, you are perfect just the way you are. So you know the song. It's called Just the Way You Are. So sing along if you know it. Oh, her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful. I tell her every day. She won't believe me. It's so sad to think that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay? I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. Yeah, her hands, I could hold them all day if she let me. Her laugh, she hates but it makes me so happy. She's so beautiful, I tell her every day. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. If perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same. So don't even bother asking if you look okay. You know I'll say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause best you can do. I want a little bit better. The way you're so amazing. Yeah, I like that. All right, let's break it down for me. See, just the way you are, the way you are. See, just the way you are, the way you are. Amazing, just the way you are. Yeah, let's do it again. Ooh, see, just the way you are, the way you are. See, just the way you are, the way you are. Amazing, just the way you are. When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are, yeah. Oh, when you smile, oh darling, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. You're so amazing, just the way you are. Yeah.
Thank you all for being such an incredible audience for us today. As leader of this team, I just wanted to take a really quick second to thank the band Encore, Will for helping us out today, and our intern Jackson for being here and getting up on stage and sharing. It really does take a lot of courage to get up and share their story, so I'm really grateful that they were able to do that with us today. If anything that you heard today resonated with you, we really would wish to encourage you to reach out, whether it's a counselor or a teacher here at your school. We'll also be at our back table at the end of the show, and we'd really love to talk to each and every one of you. There's also a really great resource called the Kids Help Phone that's a great confidential way for students of all ages to reach out and get the support that they're looking for. At this point in time, I'd like to thank the band Encore for being here and volunteering their time with us. They'll be at their merch table out in the hallway at the end of the show, and I know that they'd love to chat with each and every one of you, take pictures, and just get to know you all. If you are at all interested in learning about the Builds program or how to get involved with coming on tour with us, please come and talk to us. We would really love to chat about that. I'd also really like to thank Gina and call up JP to end off the show. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks again. That's awesome. It's a great start. Actually, I'm gonna just get everybody up here because there's some back table people. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because you have a small team.
Just 5.
Let's go. Okay. Sweet. So this is them. What a good job. Yeah. Thank you guys for working so hard. And the show's looking